The dictionary defines gentrification as the process whereby the character of a poor urban area is changed by wealthier people moving in, improving housing, and attracting new businesses, typically displacing current inhabitants in this process. The definition of cliché is a phrase or opinion that is overused and portrays a lack of original thought, but that's not relevant to this essay. But what this is about is the 2011 movie Barbie, Princess Charm School. It's generally considered one of the better Barbie movies, and it's one of my favorites, probably number one if I had to rank them. It follows Blair as she goes from being a poor waitress, having to afford an apartment for her adoptive mother who is sick, and her younger adoptive sister, and to be picked with a random draw into the amazing Princess Charm School. Later in the movie, one of the movie's main antagonists, Dame Devon, says when her daughter Delancey takes the throne that,
"My brilliant daughter noticed that Gardenia's poor sections are a blight to the otherwise beautiful community. Hey! To remedy this, she will take over those areas, bulldoze the buildings, and turn the land into beautiful rolling parks, full of trees and grass and streams. Wonderful for the environment."
And when I was a little 7-year-old or however old when I was watching this for the first time, I was thinking, this isn't a bad take to have, it's good to have nature and it's better for the environment, right? But then Blair says something that kind of changed a lot of my worldview.
But people live in those areas you just knocked down. My neighborhood is there.
It is? Delancey is aware of that. Those people will move elsewhere.
How? They're like me. They don't have money. They can't just pick up and move.
If I were you, I'd leave this school immediately and get my family ready to move.
I didn't even think of that. At the time, I knew nothing of the topic of gentrification or anything about poor districts being torn down in the place of better looking ones, but that would ultimately make it much harder for regular people to live. This was my introduction to that, and it was very formative on me. Also, coming from a major corporation like Mattel that makes Barbie, I think it's a really interesting thing to put, especially in a movie that's target audience is children. It teaches this really complex idea of even if something is good for the environment, like parks, and this is good for the public good, working class people live in that area. There is consequences to these actions. And I think that's a really important stance for this movie to take, and I love that it's actually the crux of the climax of the movie, of the plot for why she needs to do this. I haven't seen a lot of movies touch on this subject. It's briefly mentioned in West Side Story with how even though these gangs hate each other, they are both united on the fact that this gentrification and all these rich people moving in is bad for them, and it'll mean they might be not in this area anymore. And it has gone into much deeper in the South Park season 19, but in this one scene, I think it is so concisely summed up. Yes, it's good for the environment and it makes everything look better, but just because something looks better doesn't mean it is better. Working class people need to have affordable living conditions. Their minimum wage job should be able to give them affordable housing in the area where they live and work. Now, earlier I mentioned the reason that Blair was allowed into this school was because there was a raffle to let her in. And overall, the vibe of this society is a little bit gentrified dystopia. It's very beautiful, and everyone at the school is learning etiquette and all these things important to be a princess, and also your basic private school academia things. But people don't live that way outside in the city. I mean, in Blair's community alone, we only see her family, but her mother is sick and she's saving up every tip she can just to make sure they can make it by. And she says when she gets a better job, she can find a better doctor for her mother. So money is a concern, and she's likely not the only one, as we see from the poor living conditions that her apartment is in. There is also something to be said that the main character in this Barbie movie is not only from a poor background. I mean, we've seen that before. We've got the little peasant girl who becomes a princess, but she's in the modern day society. Being poor, this isn't something you can glamorize easily or really at all. And they don't. They show that it's not easy and that everything in their house isn't perfect, but they don't portray the people as bad. They still care for each other and they're doing the best they can. And so is Blair. Now, obviously, Blair is a princess, and it's revealed that she is descendant of the last king and queen, and she's the rightful heir, but she didn't grow up that way. And I think it shows for a real change in society that's possible in our society too. And another point I think this movie makes about gentrification is the inauthenticity of it. When we see this scene where she's saying she's going to replace this area with parks, it might be good for the environment, it might look cleaner, but it's not authentic. It's not the community, it's not the culture of the area. We see this a lot in the real world, like with the West Village girls in New York City. But this is like a huge cultural trend that's been going on for really all of human history. But I feel like we just notice it more now, and I see it in this movie. And in a few scenes before this one, Delancey and Dame Devon ruin the uniforms of Blair and her two roommates, so they can't go to this event and they'll fail a class. Basically, all these uniforms look the same. It almost feels gentrified, but Blair is not royalty like her roommates, and she makes out of these rags of torn up clothes somehow into new uniforms that are different, and people like them more, and everyone wants one because they're actually unique. Because at the heart of it all, people do like what's genuine and authentic. And I think this might also be part of this bigger message. Hey guys, so thanks for watching this video. I know, again, I said this It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia video is going to be up this week. I don't even know when that's going to be done. I'm probably going to try to do a different topic on that show in the coming weeks. But just with my schedules looking, I'm not sure that's going to happen. But if you want to see more videos about Barbie or any of the other topics I talk about in my videos, let me know in the comments below. Bye!